Our next presenter is Jim Garrity, so I would like to welcome to the podium Jim Garrity.
You can tell Dave Crowley was a valedictorian. See, I've got notes. Ian and I couldn't last without notes. Al Leathers, you stole half of my statement here, but I will say one of the things that you said about the girls' length of skirts and everything, that is true, but Ann Pula can verify this because one of her jobs when she was teaching up here, I believe you had a ruler and you used to measure. You come up here.
The principal made us do it. We didn't have a ruler. They made all the girls, if the skirts were too short, they made them kneel on a desk to make sure the skirts came down there. Lord, the door's come a long way since.
Thank you, ma'am. I've been cleared by Dave Utterback to tell a few stories. And the stories that you've heard here tonight are true. Those are true. And a couple of the stories, if we need them confirmed, I'd like to have Keith Mahaney just let me know whether or not they are, in fact, the truth. I'd just like to start off by saying a little something about the committee. And as a member of the Brewer High School Athletic Hall of Fame Committee, I would like to welcome you to our Hall of Fame induction ceremony. I want to thank alumni, I want to thank friends, Brewer boosters, and local business people who contributed to this project. And thank WBRC Engineering for designing the Hall of Fame wall. I would like to congratulate all the inductees. Reading the bios of these inductees definitely will inspire and all future students and athletes to strive for excellence in their athletic and non-athletic endeavors. Sorry, Al, that was I would like to thank Superintendent of Schools, Jay McIntyre, for his direction and input in the Hall of Fame Committee. Jay attended most of our meetings and supported our planning for the Hall of Fame, as if a superintendent needed to go to a few more meetings. Where is Jay, anyway? Can you stand up, Jay? Thank you so much. Another person in Jay's office, and I hope she's here tonight, is Debbie Brooks. She was most helpful to the committee. Is Debbie here? Oh, she's not. She's wonderful. Did a great job for us. And I believe she's Dennis Kaya's ex-secretary, so I don't know if there was any pull there or not. But the Brewer High School Athletic Hall of Fame concept was initiated by Athletic Director Dave Utterback here. Knowing he could not handle this project alone, he formed a Hall of Fame committee. As chairman, he delegated planning, organizing, and fundraising to the committee members. 2 members of the Hall of Fame committee went above and beyond to bring this project to such a success. Jim White, Kathy Cahill, organized, implemented, and assigned tasks to committee members, as any great principal, teacher, coach would do. I'd also like to recognize Dan O'Connell and Dennis Kyer for their help in developing a timeline of Brewer High sports and identifying athletes in Brewer yearbooks from the 1800s to present. Would Kathy, Jim, Dennis, and Dan please stand to be recognized? After spending the summer with those 4 people, going through all the yearbooks, poor Kathy Cahill had to put up with 4 old geezers. And, I think she called us her 4 grumpy old men. Okay, now getting to Dan Coombs. Now, I wasn't going to tell any stories, but I got cleared by Dave, so I am going to inject a few stories, and they're true. So here we go. Now, we all know Dan was a big baseball and basketball star, a standout at Brewer High School. He made All-State his second team in basketball his junior year. And he made All-State in his senior year in 1960. He guided Roar to the Eastern Maine Championship in 1960, scoring 104 points in 3 games. Scored 34, 31, and 39 points. This record still stands at the Bangor Auditorium. The auditorium doesn't stand. In the state Class A game, Dan scored 35 points and was named the most valuable player of the game, even though Brewer lost to Lewis. Now, what's ironic about this Eastern Maine Championship game in 1960 when we played Presque Isle? Just before the game, Keith Mahaney was approached by a local businessman in Bangor. I can't tell you what his name is, because you probably all know who it is. But anyways, this person, that Keith Mahaney, that Presque Isle was going to beat Brewer, and he was going to bet him $500, because he said Coombs is going to choke, and he said Presque Isle is going to win. Wrong. Dan scored 39 points that game. What's ironic about that, the person who bet against him was his own uncle from Bangor. It's his own uncle. So at the end of it, Keith came up to Dan and then he said, I collected every penny of that bet. Was that true, Keith? Just put your hand, it is true. Okay, Dan was the star pitcher. We're going to go into baseball here, because we all know he's a Major League Baseball pitcher. He was a pitcher for our Coach Hedrick on the baseball team in 1960. I caught Dan, so caught Joe Ferris as well. He was overpowering with his fastball and curveball. After graduating from Brewer High School in 1960, Dan attended Seton Hall University in New Jersey on a basketball scholarship from 1960 to 1962. Dan averaged 21 points per game his freshman year, 15 points per game his sophomore year. How's it feel, Dan, only scored 15 points? You had the nation's leading scorer, Nick Workman, 35 points per game.
It was like that game when we had Sharman and me.
Yeah.
I didn't get the ball, Workman did.
Yeah, right. That's the same thing. That's another story. I wasn't even going to talk about. Yeah. Dan has a little problem remembering things. For example, we played a game in the Bangor Auditorium in 1960. I mean, like in May, we were playing baseball. Mahaney sets up a deal that we're going to play this basketball game with Bill Sharman and Bob Cousy with our Brewer team. Cousy would be on one team, and Sharman would be on the other. I was on Dan's team, and we had Sharman. Sharman was saying, Jim, throw it over here, throw it over here. No, it's going to Coombs. Dan says, do you remember that game? I said, yeah, I do. He says, you remember? He says, that was sponsored by Steel Test Ice Cream. And I said, no, it wasn't Dan. He said, what do you mean? He said, I wouldn't forget that. There's a picture of Dan, Al Leathers, Bob Cousy, and Bill Sharman on their jerseys. On Cousy and Sharman's jersey, it says, Hood, Hoop, Scoop. Hello. I wasn't going to tell them. During the summer of his sophomore year in 1962 at Seton Hall, he was asked to play in a summer league. He wasn't even going to go there to play baseball. In the New Jersey, there was the Houston Colt 45 scouts there, noticed him, asked him if he would fly to Houston immediately for a tryout, and Dan signed a reported $40,000 bonus, negotiating himself. He was assigned to the Colt 45's minor league team in Arizona from 1962 to 1963, and made the Colt 45's major league roster in 1964. Dan was traded to the San Diego Padres in 1970 and had his best year in professional baseball, posting 10 wins and 14 losses in 188 innings, finishing 9th in the National League with a 3.30 earned run average. He compiled a lifetime Major League record of 19 wins and 27 losses with a 4.08 ER over his earned run average over his career. Now, there's a little confusion tell you about one game that Dan played in. And this was a game in Connie Stadium in Philadelphia where the Astros, what's the matter, Dan? Oh, I've got to tell it anyway. But it was a game between the Astros and Philadelphia Phillies in Connie Stadium. Well, during the game, Dan was warming up down in the left field line, and the game was going along. Well, Dan had his back to the action, and Philadelphia was up to the plate. Well, Dan heard a big holler, the crowd yelling. So Dan turned around, and the next thing he knows, whoo, there's a ball coming right at him. Dan catches the ball. Well, here's where the problem started. It was a live ball. It was in fair territory. So, Dan, what do you do in that case? You just stand there in front of 30,000 people with the dump up your... What do you do? I mean, you've got a couple options. You could hand it to the left field. You could give it to the umpire and say, Jesus, sorry.
Jimmy, I didn't catch it. It skipped off my glove.
Oh, he didn't catch it, just didn't know. Well, he was ejected from the game. He was gone. And he also could have taken the ball and tossed it into the stands and given it to his favorite new Philadelphia Philly fans, because they were all booing him, 30,000 people. And so Dan was ejected, and that's another one of the stories. I only have one more. Okay, after Dan left baseball, he returned to Houston and completed his college education at the University of Houston in 1974. He received his BS degree in education, taught and coached in the Houston school system for 28 years, coaching basketball, baseball, and football. What the heck? How did you ever coach football? You never even played football. But while there, his basketball teams won 3 district championships and 1 city championship in 3 years. Now, listen to this. Dan has received the following awards. He's Hall of Famed out. I'm getting sick and tired of that. In 1970, he received the State of Maine Governor's Trophy for Maine's Outstanding Athlete during, I think it was Governor Ken Curtis at the time was the governor. He was inducted in the Maine Sports Hall of Fame in 1997 along with his coach, our coach, Larry Mahane. He was awarded the City of Brewer Bicentennial Athlete in 2012. He was inducted in the Maine Basketball Hall of Fame on August the 21st of this year, and now this evening. Well, you know, there's basically only one more thing you've got left to do, Dan. You know what that is, don't you?
Die.
I'm going to tell you a little about that. He has a younger sister. And recently she talked to him about this subject. And she said, you know, Dan, you're not getting any younger. And I think it's time you started working on your obituary. Well, he says, hell, he says, I'm not working on no obituary. He said, why? He says, what does it matter to you? He says, you're afraid to fly, so you're not going to come down to Houston to my funeral anyways. She says, that's right, Dan, I'm not going to. But she says, I want that obituary to look good in the Bangor Daily News. I'll give you my notes tonight, Dan. You can hold on to them. I am proud to call Dan Coombs a lifelong friend of mine and congratulate him for being inducted into the Brewer High School Athletic Hall of Fame. Congratulations.
So this confirms what I believed all along, that people of Maine, and I told them, I said, if I got traded to the Red Sox and played 3 games with the Red Sox, that's all they talk about in Maine. Hey, he played with the Red Sox. I almost got traded. There was a trade rumor going in 1970 for a right-handed, left-handed hitter with the Red Sox. It was in the San Diego Union for about a week and a half. I was so excited, I couldn't even breathe out there. I thought, oh my God, if I get traded to the Red Sox, that's going to be the greatest thing. I couldn't believe it, but it died down, it didn't happen. But this confirms my belief. I'm looking at this inaugural class here, and it says Coombs played Major League Baseball for the Houston Blue 45s and San Diego Padres. I played over 3 years with the Houston Astros. No mention of that. So that confirms my belief is I'm just a basketball player. I pitched against Mickey Mantle in the Dome, the first game of 1965. Now catch this. We got the place, I mean the fire marshal should have shut the Dome down, there's so many people. We got Lyndon Johnson and Lyndon Johnson and his wife Lady Bird up in the box with the owner. Mantle comes up, the whole place is on their feet. So I peek up in the box. Sure enough, there's the President of the United States, his wife, they're on the feet. Get it out of the park on this ball. I got 50,000 police and the President all pulling against me. You know what it felt like out there? That was the loneliest place. Well, I quiet him down. He hit into a double play and I get out of the inning, so I disappointed the fans. Well, I got a few words here to say, and I'll sit down. I'm not going to be as long as Garrity. I mean, we could have gone back to World War II. He's a rat, that guy, I'm telling you. We grew up, and I tell you, my mother, every time, she thought I was an angel. So whenever something happened negative and came home, she says, I said, Garrity, stay away from him, he's no good. But I didn't listen, I kept hanging out. All right, 54 years ago, I took the very last passenger train out of Bangor. There wasn't any more passengers then. And I had visited Holy Cross and Boston College. Now my grades were sorry. I thought I had good grades. I could have named my ticket to you. No telling where. North Carolina was interested in me. Mahaney told me. They already picked the top 5 or 6, but they said if something happened, they would be interested in me, but I probably couldn't get in. But anyways, Coach Mahaney had a hand in getting me into. This is where, you know, he comes in a lot of places in my life. He helped me get into Seton Hall University. I love the coach, great guy, and I knew he was going to give me a chance because I could tell by the way he recruited me. Growing up in Brewer was probably the best thing that ever happened to me. I believe in destiny, and I think it was here that my destiny started. I started basketball in the YMCA. A guy named John Coombs, that never even spoke to me. I was always telling him, John, I'm Coombs too. Say something. Another Coombs within 100 miles. He walked by me. Rockport and Tom Kelly, they split taking care of the recreation program. I started baseball there, you know, fight and argue about who's going to pitch, who's going to play first, get about 4 or 5 for each team, choose up, you know, the old fingers here, and then fight, play all day long. I mean, it was the greatest thing in the world, because there was nothing organized, but we had a great time. Closest friends growing up were here tonight, Jim Garrity and Dennis Van. We hung out a lot. Dennis and I played basketball. Coach Mahaney made two basketball standards for us, just like the ones at the Bangor Auditorium. And he outlined the court, and Dennis and I played all summer. Well, first of all, Dennis is the one who got me into football. He talked me into it, and then I wanted to quit. And I said, Dennis one day says, I'm going to quit and I'll play myself. Oh, I think I'll quit with you. So we both quit. That was it. We started playing basketball. And I think it helped us. Oh, it helped us a lot. For hours out there. Started my baseball. Well, my first indication I might have a little talent in basketball was when we played John Paps in the old auditorium, and I was not starting, and I came in for Leroy Stewart, and I scored 14 points in the last 6 minutes of the game. We won it, and I got my name in headlines in Bangor Daily News. I was so excited because I'd never seen my name in the paper before. So that kind of piqued my interest in basketball, and that year I started, got my first taste of varsity baseball under the guidance of Coach Charlie Hedrick. I don't remember a whole lot about that. I think I pitched a few innings, but not a whole lot. My first impression of Larry Mahaney. Good-looking guy, carried himself well, smart and organized. All the things I'd never be. He gave me a foundation both physically and mentally in basketball, and I continued to improve until graduation. Because of the unusual circumstances, I don't think going to any other school except Seton Hall would have given me back into baseball. Now here's the story. This is the best story of my life. I had no idea I wanted to play baseball. I never even mentioned baseball. I had two friends. We had our building was McQuaid Hall. On the top floor, college basketball players, scholarship players. We had 2 baseball players. And Joe knows one of them, John Montleone. He met him. Well, he and I were good friends. Like, check this out. We got this guy that comes up at the end of the year. I don't know what it was. It was the end of the year before school shut down. And he come up looking for help for the summer league. Well, I was in, but this is what happens. He catches Montleone, who I told one time I was a half-decent pitcher in high school, and that was it. I didn't tell him I wanted to play baseball. But this guy was looking for players in the Essex County League was a semi-pro league, a good semi-pro league. And Montleone and another guy named Jack Tracy said, well, I'm going to be home. But this kid Coombs, down the hallway, he's a full scholarship basketball player. He said he was a left-handed pitcher. He said he was pretty good in high school. Run down, he might be interested. He goes down the hall, knocks on the door, and I'm in and out all day. I happen to be in. He got me started that day. If I wasn't in that day, the baseball career wouldn't have happened. The wife I'm married to wouldn't happen. 2 wonderful kids wouldn't happen. And I probably wouldn't be standing here tonight. So I credit Larry for getting me into Seton Hall, and these other things happened. This is the weirdest thing that ever happened in my life. I took that, and I started throwing. I don't think I threw that hard in high school. I think I made it through in the low 80s, maybe. But I picked up well over 10 miles an hour before I signed. They said, and I don't know, I probably were lying, the scouts were lying, you know, a little smoky after they signed it. Before they signed it, yeah, you know, I got all kinds of stories, but I ain't got time to tell you. But anyways, they said I had the second best arm in the metropolitan New York area. Larry Bernard from St. John's, and I don't know if you remember him, Joe. He was a left-handed, and they said he was the top prospect, and I was number 2, but I don't know if they were lying. But anyways, I negotiated my way into baseball, and then spent 10 years after that. I got over 5 years in the big leagues. Got a pension. At that time, pensions were very hard to get. You got close to that pension line, they cut so many people. I got shipped out when I was my last day in baseball. They sent me, believe it, to Hawaii. I lay on the beach. My wife and I went out there. There were at least 6 players on that team. This is a team that was not built from all Astros, that were 30 or 40 or 50 days short of the pension. Never get it. So I was very fortunate to get on the pension plan. All right, let me continue and finish up here. I enjoyed playing for Coach Hedrick. I didn't have a lot of time with him, and that's the thing. My freshman year, I didn't play baseball. My sophomore year, I got a little playing. Junior year, I don't remember pitching at all. Do you remember, Joe? I can't remember. I don't think I pitched anything. I think I had a sore arm on it. I was a half-decent pitcher my senior year. But Charlie got the field named after him recently, and deservedly so. He put in a lot of years and did a heck of a job. And I just didn't have a whole lot of time with him like I did with Coach Mahaney. Coach Mahaney had a great success in his time at Brewer High School. And I know many can say, as I do, he was the best coach I ever had. Thank you.